Hey everybody, welcome back to Arlie at Home. I'm Arlie and today we're in the garden. So guys, welcome back to the garden. I wanted to give you a quick update on everything that's been going on in here. We've been working very hard in our garden. As you can tell, everything is super green and lush, but that doesn't mean we didn't have a ton of setback. So, crazy kamikaze butterflies. Anyways, so I wanted to share with you guys everything that's been going on, our hits and our misses, and give you a quick update on how the process is going. So far, everything's been working out really well, but we did have a lot of loss. See, I lost a ton of video that I had filmed. I mean, so much video disappeared and I have no idea what happened, but in the process, I lost a bunch of it. So there are some snippets that I'll be able to share with you guys that I was able to save, but I said it in the last video, I had a huge computer crash and meltdown, all kinds of things went wrong. Murphy's Law, anything that can go wrong will go wrong. So here we are, recovering from that. So let's zoom in. I'm gonna show you guys what I've got going on here. All right, guys, I don't know if you can really see this well, but look at these cucumbers. They are amazing. So I'm gonna snip a bunch of these off because they are ready to go. Look at that. Now, these are a smaller variety. They are not huge, and I picked that on purpose because they're made for container growing as opposed to in the ground. So you get a smaller cucumber overall. It's great flavored and you can pickle them. So they're delicious and they're great, guys. Something that we've gotten really into lately is juicing. There is so much nutrition in cucumbers. You would have you wouldn't even believe it. So this tree now, I only got the one tree. I planted two, but only one survived. And that's okay. I've got 7 cucumbers right now. It's not the first one I picked. I had 2 more that I already picked. And this tree is okay, but it's suffering a little bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and trim some of the leaves back. When you're dealing with cucumber is incredible like that. You have to really look at your vine. It will shoot off runners or suckers. And let me see if I can zoom you guys in so you can see it. Okay guys, so here's our cucumber plant. And as you can see here, you have your sun leaf. This is where your fruit comes off. I just picked that off. And here's a tendril. Your tendrils are what attach the tree to your trellis or to whatever they hold on to. Right here's another one and a perfect example with a sun leaf. And along the main stem, you will have that come out. Now, in between, you will see this little growth. That's a sucker. And that will shoot out a whole other branch that will give more fruit and things of that nature. The problem is that will take away nutrition from your tree. So what we like to do is come back and remove those. If they're small enough like that, you pick it off and that's it. Sometimes you have to cut them. Now, I've been pretty good about it this whole time of coming through and removing them and not really giving them a chance to grow out. Let's see, these little guys here that are not fruit, those are suckers and they have to be removed. And that will let the tree focus all the nutrition on giving us some really beautiful cucumbers. All right, guys, these are the tomatoes, the hybrid tomatoes that I had purchased from Bonnie Bell Plants. They're kind of on their last leg. Now, they've given a ton of fruit, and I'm super happy. There's a bunch of them that they're not ripe yet, but they're making their way there. I did have a bout of blossom end rot, and to counteract it, what I did was add some Epsom salt to the soil, and I did that by diluting it in water and giving it a tea. When I watered the plant, I watered it with a little bit of Epsom salt, and that took care of the blossom end rot. It got rid of it altogether. But typically when you're planting tomato plants, you want to make sure that you're adding a fertilizer to the dirt that has calcium in it. That lack of calcium is what causes blossom end rot. So now we're just waiting for these guys to mature and ripen. Next door, we have the cherry tomatoes. Look at these guys, aren't they beautiful? When you really look at them like that, they're so pretty. So these guys are doing fantastically. The trees are nice and strong. I'm bracing them with bamboo to keep them up. And these guys down here, if you can see them, one in each corner, those are volunteer plants. They just popped up out of nowhere. I know they're a tomato. I know they're a cherry tomato because they popped up in another box where I had cherry tomatoes. So I guess they just, one tomato got loose and the seed sprouted and here we go. So I just placed them down here to have a little bit of succession and they're growing really, really well, to be honest. I found them these tiny, teeny, teeny little plants, but these guys are putting on a ton of fruit and we're just waiting for them to mature as well. Oh, you guys, it is fajita pepper time. Look at these peppers, how beautiful they are. They are spicy and tasty, and these are gonna make a really delicious hot sauce. So it said when I was first purchasing them that they turn red, but they have not turned red yet. So I'm gonna pick them green. They are wonderfully flavorful and spicy as it is, so I wouldn't want them to get any spicier. So I'm picking them now so I can make hot sauce out of it. I'm coming through. I'm not gonna take all of them right away. Just picking the larger ones and let the rest mature, because then what I can do is freeze these to make sauce. And when everybody's ready to go, look at that. Those are so pretty. But when everybody's ready to go and the trees have kind of done their thing, I can do one really large batch of sauce. Also, guys, just a quick hint. You want to cut your peppers off. Don't tear them off because you can always damage the plant. And that leaves it susceptible to infections and fungus, and you end up losing your plant. And we don't want to do that. We've worked so hard for this fruit and put in so much time. We want to keep them happy and healthy. So it keeps producing really yummy peppers for us. Also, by trimming out all of this larger fruit, we're letting the tree know that it can produce more. So it'll start to flower again and give us more peppers. Not bad, guys. Okay, guys, so over here, we have our butternut squash, and it is just starting to put on the female flowers. And you can tell that it's the female flower. Let me bring you in. Because if you notice, this flower is a little different. It has that fruit on the bottom of it. And see, we have a few of them here. So once those open up, we can pollinate them and we'll have butternut squash. All right, we have the citrus grove here and it's doing great. They're super healthy. They're coming into their own now and we're starting to get fruit on everybody. This is a ponderosa lemon as well as this one next door. And the lime trees are starting to put on fruit. They flowered tremendously last month and they are putting on fruit. The Meyer lemon that I thought was dead because it dropped all of its leaves came back to life and it's starting to sprout leaves all over the place. Honestly, I'm super grateful because I love Meyer lemons and I thought I killed that tree, but no, it's come back to life. So we're gonna go ahead and say thank you for that. I want to say thank you to Mr. and Mrs. Hart from Homestead Heart. You guys gave me the idea on how to do this, and I'm really grateful that you guys shared it because honestly, it's worked out fantastically for me. And as you can see, I have a plethora of onions. I have yellow onions, white onions, red onions, they're all in there. And for my small family of 3, it's plenty. So I'm grateful. Thank you for sharing. I'll link that video down below for you guys in case you want to watch it and maybe mimic that yourselves. It worked out amazing. If you can see right up there, I have 3 hanging pots, and those, there you go, you can see that better there. Those are cucumbers as well. Now I just recently planted these, and we're gonna see how this works out if I can vine them down the posts of my box and use that as a trellis instead of putting them into the ground. Okay guys, so I have my pineapple orange tree over here. That one got attacked by bugs. Now I don't know what in the world they were, but it arrived, it laid eggs galore, and they started to devour my tree. So I had to go through washing it and getting rid of all of those bugs, and it's on recovery mode now, but it's doing well. I have my herbs, my oregano, thyme, basil, green onions, and my rosemary behind me. But can we talk about my bananas? Do you see them hanging off in the corner here? Let me give you a better look at my bananas. These are the bananas, guys. Look at them. They're beautiful. Now you'll notice in the background the banana tree has been cut down, and it's got some, let me see if you can see it better there. It's got a couple of other trees that are succession trees. We've trimmed those down and we're giving them a chance to pop back up again. They're doing great, but we've got our first set of bananas. I've been trying so hard, my husband and I have been trying so hard to grow these bananas, you have no idea. And it's taken us years, but we figured out bananas. Behind me is our everlasting but shortly dying eggplant tree. As you can see, it's giving us eggplant, but it's on its last leg. We've had that tree for 2 or 3 years, so we're gonna restart seeds for a new eggplant tree so it can go in. It has been extremely prolific. So we're very grateful. She's no longer healthy, and now it's time to unalive the tree, if I can say that. No, but we're gonna replace her and make her happier and healthier. Okay guys, it's summer and it's Florida. That means sweet potatoes. Can you see them down here to me? So we've got our sweet potatoes in 2 pots, and they will vine up here. I don't want to let them run loose because we do have neighbors and they don't appreciate sweet potatoes as much as we do. So I don't want it crawling under the fence at all, but I'm just training them to crawl up these trellises, and that will restrict the sweet potatoes from growing in other places, because sweet potato, wherever this vine touches ground, will set roots, and from those roots come the tubers, and that's where you get your sweet potatoes from. So if you allow this to vine out everywhere, it will. We don't want to do that. So we're going to get a good amount of sweet potato from these pots. So guys, since those tomatoes, the bigger tomatoes, are on their downward slope. So they've given all the fruit they're gonna give, and now the tree itself is starting to die. We're gonna wait for those tomatoes to just get a little bit of color on them. I'm not gonna let them ripen on there because I have been fist fighting birds for those tomatoes this whole season. Honestly, I would come out and 3 tomatoes would be ready to go, even slightly red on the tree, and 2 of them would have been devoured by blue jays and mockingbirds. They've been killing me. So once I get whatever I'm gonna get off of that tree, I'm gonna pull those trees, I'm gonna reconstitute that dirt, put down fresh compost, and I'm starting the seeds of the trees that are gonna go in there. These are kale plants. Now I've had kale plants before and I love them. And I'm gonna tell you why I'm starting kale. Again, not only is it delicious and nutritious, high in iron, vitamin K, vitamin A, I mean, it's just awesome for you. It tastes great. You can cook it like spinach. It's low in calcium oxalate, so people like me who've had kidney stones and things like that can have it. Perfect. I bought a bag of kale at the grocery store the other day. Not 2 days went by and it rotted. I mean, it was just gone, and it was a waste. I had to throw out 3/4 of a bag of kale because I didn't get to use it in time, and I said, it's not gonna happen to me anymore. There's nothing that makes me sadder than having to throw away food. We work hard for this food, and it's not cheap anymore. It's not like you can go and spend a couple bucks and come back with a bunch of groceries. You're spending $100 and coming back with milk and eggs. So Not to be exaggerated, but honestly, that's what it feels like. So I am starting my own kale, and we're gonna grow kale this summer. Typically, you don't grow greens like that in the summer, but since we get so much heavy rain in the summer, last year my kale did so well and lasted well into the summer, well into the winter. I mean, it was there forever, almost the entire year. So I'm gonna go with the kale, and we're gonna grow our own kale so I don't have to throw out another bag of kale. That really irked me. Also, this was another volunteer tomato. I have no idea what tomato this is. No clue what breed it is, what species it is, nothing. I have no idea what this is, nothing. I know it's a tomato plant by the way that it looks. See, it's a tomato plant. So I found it. It was growing somewhere else randomly, whatever seed got dropped somewhere. And since it volunteered itself for my garden, I put it in this little pot. I am bringing it up. We're gonna plant it. We're gonna see what this is. It's gonna be the surprise tomato is what I'm calling it. We have papaya seeds that I have started. These are not for me. These are gonna go for my grandfather because he loves papayas. So I'm starting them for him. I'm starting a new adventure. See if you can see what my new adventure is. Dragon fruit. So we're gonna learn about dragon fruit together. Growing, either I kill it or it lives and it's fantastic, but we're gonna learn together. I'm gonna plant it. I think it's great. I love dragon fruit. I think it's delicious. So we're gonna see how that works out. Okay guys, let's talk about my unhealthy obsession with peppers. So I've grown these before. You guys have seen them before. These are burrito peppers. And this is what I made my original hot sauce with. I decided to go really big because that hot sauce turned out so great. And I have 16 plants producing peppers. Look at this. They're huge and they're healthy and they're delicious. And I'm really excited about it. These trees are putting out peppers galore. They're still really green. I'm waiting for them to turn a little bit red. But yeah, super great peppers. These are super fantastic. Look at that. All right, guys, it's really windy, so bear with me here. So these are Mad Hatter peppers. I've never grown these before. They are new to me, but we bought 2 plants to see what they turn out to be. Now they look very familiar to me in the picture, like something that's very traditional in Hispanic cooking, but I have no idea if it's the same one or if it's different. These could be very spicy like a habanero or sweet like a bell pepper, but looks like a habanero. Very interesting. Around the bottom, I put radishes, just to kind of fill the spot and get them growing. I love radishes. They grow really fast and they're extremely delicious and nutritious, especially when you roast them. And if you can see in the background are our papaya trees. We have 4 of those growing for this summer's fruit. Okay, you guys, I don't know if you remember when I planted these Carmen Italian peppers, this one and the one behind it, and they're doing well. I do have to pick the weeds from the bottom of this. Let me do that real fast. But they have been consistently giving peppers this whole entire time. They've been in here for like 2 months now, I want to say, and they've been really well, very prolific. So I'm really happy with this purchase on these peppers, on these starts, because they've worked out really well. And they're super flavorful. They are not spicy in the slightest, but they hit hard with that pepper flavor and they are delicious. If anybody knows of a secret to get rid of all the weeds, I'm all ears. Over here on the left side, guys, we have bell peppers. This one's also been doing really, really well, consistently producing fruit. And I've noticed, like, this was the year where I learned placement is key. It doesn't matter how many nutrients you're giving it. Your plants have to be happy. And they're not always happy in the same spot. See, I kept trying to grow tomatoes in the exact same location because that's where I wanted the tomatoes to be. Aesthetically, for me, I preferred them in the spot where I was planting them. Tomatoes hated that spot. So I wasn't getting anything. I'd plant the tree and the tree would die. Like very shortly after, I wouldn't get a single fruit. So I was wasting all of this time growing or trying to grow tomatoes, putting in new soil, all kinds of amendments to it. I mean, it didn't work. Nothing worked because it wasn't happy there. It didn't like its growing area. I had to change it. The sun wasn't right. Growing conditions weren't right. I had to make the adjustments, not the tree. So this has been a huge learning year for me. Even though I've been planting trees and I have been growing fruits and vegetables in my garden for a few years now, this year I've learned to work with the garden and not have the garden work for me. So what I mean by that is learn what each tree needs. I kept trying to force the tomatoes to grow in this spot. They weren't going to grow there. They weren't happy there. They didn't like it there. They didn't have what they needed there. So I thought, okay, let's try something different, put them somewhere else. I put them in the planter box and they did great. They're growing, they're prolific, they're happy. I had to change it. Same with the peppers. I could not grow a bell pepper, a hot pepper, any kind of pepper. No peppers would grow in this backyard. Well, forget about the backyard, let's put them in the front yard. And they've been doing really, really well back there. So I'm really grateful for that. And I'm consistently getting peppers, whereas I would get 1 or 2 peppers, the tree would die and that would be it. That's not happening this time. I'm actually getting more and more peppers throughout this whole season. I've got a ton of chopped peppers in the freezer, which is what I wanted for the year. So every time I get 3 or 4 peppers on those trees, I take them off, cut them up, toss them into the zip top bag and pop it in the freezer so it's ready to go when I need it, and I'm not having to run out to the store and buy peppers, as expensive as peppers are. So just like with the onions, every time I tried to plant onions, the weeds would overtake it, they would die. So I started doing research. What can I do with this? In comes Homestead Heart. I wasn't even searching for it when I found it, and it just popped up, new upload, and it was exactly the answer that I was looking for. So I put a weed cover layer down, and I opened the holes. I'll show you how I did it. They taught me how to do it. Again, thank you. Super grateful. And that's what I've been doing with all the trees. Just looking at them. What do you need? What are you missing? What's happening with you? So I can make the appropriate adjustments, and I can learn at trial by error on what to do and what not to do for my trees. And guys, I want to thank you so much for being a part of this journey with me. I'm learning, you're learning, you're learning through my mistakes, and that makes me happy because at least it's not a waste of time. That if I've taught you anything, it's okay to make mistakes, but just listen to what the trees are telling you. They will let you know if they're not healthy, if they're not happy, and you can't force them to just kind of be like in that spot because you said so. No, your trees are trying to tell you, I don't like it here, put me somewhere else. Do that. It's worked out fantastically for me this year. I've recovered from all of the horrible storms that we had last year. I couldn't grow anything. This year, I'm growing tons of food. So thank you for sticking through this with me. I appreciate it, you guys. Blessings to all of you. Stick around, there's more to come.